Peace in, folks. How you doing? Use the force. Positive mental attitude. We've got to try, right? So, happy Friday to you all. Hope you're well. So I'm a lot calmer than I was after the introductory of the government's full intention vocally for the vaccine. I'm not like concerned about myself in the senses of, oh no, like I'm not having that shit, so I'm good, right? I'm good with my life trajectory, I'm good with who I am and what I'm doing. I'm good in that sense. I'm good, you know. I talk about self-awareness a lot, right? And I talk about knowing yourself. And in fact, I don't too often say that know yourself thing, do I? Because I think there's something that rubs people up on that one the wrong way, and I understand it. But one of the reasons why I harp on about self-awareness so much is because with self-awareness comes a lot of self-reflection and comes general reflection. And so instead of just totally blowing up, you know, I took my time to make the video I did make. That was still a fairly explosive video as far as I was concerned. And then I just took some time to process. I had a few different conversations with a few different people on and offline. And I was just sort of, you know, absorbing and observing and just sort of collecting my thoughts, right? Just not wanting to be some irrational, you know, fly by the seat of my pants type of person. Like I have been at different times in my life, right? Like we all can be. And so this is why I think self-awareness brings so much power to it, right? Because, so I was thinking of this, right? Because I've realised there are a lot of people that for now are probably going to beg for the vaccine, are probably going to blindly take something because they're being so much led with fear. And acceptance comes to me. That's what has been coming to me the last couple of days, is this level of acceptance, right? Because acceptance for me is this ever-moving goalpost, right? That I permanently have to check back in on and reassess, right? Because what am I accepting, to what degree, and why? So I feel like a healthy action to take, certainly for myself, is the acceptance that, you know, I had a 2-day debate with my stepsister about this vaccine. And that was one of the things that made me realise you just got to accept because as much as I was accepting, and I am accepting of other people's behaviour, my fury for this mass testing on the public, especially the weak and elderly, is fierce, right? It's that of a lion. But a lion ain't always in war mode, you know, and I'm not just a lion. I like to embody a few different animal spirits. I'm greedy. I love the wolf. I love the eagle, you know, and I don't think it's like, you know, I don't think like kindred spirit. I think like whatever on that, right? Anyway, my point is really acceptance. It's like, okay, all right, we can't stop this motion that's happening right away. It's going to be like, you know, a freight train, and, you know, people are strapped to it with their feet in the floor with some super heavy boots that can deal with the damage, and you're just dragging back on it to slowly pull it down as people start to realise, holy shit, we're on a train that's heading for a bridge that blew up years ago. And slowly but surely they'll start jumping off the train, grabbing a rope and pulling on that train to try and help save the people on the train. So am I going to let go of my rope right? Just because the train's still pulling hard and it's wearing on my legs. No. But, you know, I do need to continue my lessons in how I let my passion fly out and how I react on it. Do I want to go banging on people's doors? No. Did I feel I needed to? Yes. Do I think it's a good idea? Yeah. But I'm being given cause to pause for thought on the whole matter, on the whole subject, just on how I move forward. Because, you know, like I've said for a little while now, quite some time in fact, that we're not going to make the changes we need with the moves that have been made before. And a lot of the moves that have been made before are very well predictable and very well instigated, right? We can be instigated to make moves that autopilot, bang, bang, act like that, right? And one of the things we need not to do is to do that. So I get caught, right, between like my fire and my passion and like the internal monologue that goes on between all the different parts of my personality, right? Like all of us, truly. You know, someone said something that I thought was good that I watched yesterday. I think it was Teal Swan, and it was basically just like remembering that you have many different parts to your personality, and all of them parts have a voice. You know, and I was saying something similar to this to someone who's way far in the other day, and it is that I need to feed all of me. And this is where the awareness really comes into play, right? Because when it gets down to the finer point of, do we go rallying people to attack the system, or do we, hang on a minute, that's what's been done before, do we need to do it another way? And the answer is yes, we need to do it another way. So I keep having to, this is why I say I keep having to reassess the goalpost of acceptance. I also keep having to reassess my goalposts of target and of motivation and of direction. Because if we keep, and this is why self-awareness is so important, right? Because you can keep a track of yourself in moments. You know when you're flying off, you know when you're flaring up. So you have the ability to actually act with it, to bring that energy in. And, you know, different people feel energy in different ways, right? I'm not talking like just like, you know, spiritual energy. I'm talking about real emotion, blood running, you know, anger, love, excitement, depression. It's all feeling, it's all energy, and it's all tameable, and it's all channelable. Channelable? We don't think that's a word. But you can channel it all. Well, you haven't got to be this, that or the other. You've got to want to do what's best for yourself, but without that selfish motive, right? Like, I'll do whatever I can to get one up regardless, right? It's not about that. It's about how can I grow so that for me, I can look back at yesterday and go, do you know what? All right, I may have done this, but at least I did that. That's a better move than I did a year ago or 2 years ago or 10 years ago, right? And it's keeping this self-dialogue and this self-recognition of where you're going honestly, right? So it's not pretending that we're in a position or that we're in a place. It's always being honest with ourselves. It's always being honest with ourselves. And if we're honest with ourselves, we know that, you know, we overlook things. You know, maybe it's like a part of us we didn't. It's just facing everything with honesty. And once you get to that stage, you then have the ability to start reprogramming your thought patterns. Because you can just, like, I've got a page on Facebook called Self Progression, right? I've said it and I'll say it again. I don't intend to re-go over old stuff when I've already put it there, but, you know, if it comes up, it'll come up. But, you know, there's things you can do to create triggers inside yourself. When you sit there and you analyse yourself and you're like, all right, shit, I do that thing that I keep saying to someone else, stop fucking doing that, it's annoying me, right? So you see that thing and then you spend time, right, linking a very powerful image to it, right? Whether it's a happy place, whether it's someone you loved, whether it's a place that you love to go, right? You link this to it. So when you go to do that thing, your mind will trigger with this, right? But then what you link to the powerful thing, right, is the new direction. And this is where you put most of your focus, is in the new direction. So you sit, you're like, right, I've got to stop interrupting people when they're talking. I've got to stop. When I notice I'm doing that, I need to stop doing it. Right, I'm going to think of my granddad. I'm going to think of my granddad, right? So now when I go to interrupt someone, I think of my granddad. I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that, right? So then in that moment, you get that split second where you go, oh, okay. Right, now I can, and you've already spent time building your solution direction. It may not be the final place you end up, but it's a place you're getting out of interrupting people, right? And you can, at that point, you breathe back in, and you don't interrupt someone, or you don't do the thing. It might, you know, it's just a 3-point system that you can attach to anything to create a trigger in your mind that brings you into the aware moment. And in the aware moment is where we have hench power of choice. Right? Like, once we can keep bringing ourselves back into this moment of awareness, right, you start getting closer and closer to being with that moment of awareness generally, right? And you know, I mean, I couldn't say I've been in that moment for 100% of time for any period, like, as in, you know, like an entire year, right? Because I'm still working things out of my personality that are built in exploitations of the human condition, right? So it's judgment, a healthy thing we use to analyze situations, has been inflated into this thing where we fucking cast that judgment onto other people in an unhealthy manner. These things need pulling out of us, right? Like, I get funny when I feel there's a serious message being put on, and right, I got this thing, right? Sex sells, right? People use sex to sell, and I can't stand it, right? I can't stand it. And I still have to work on the fact that I can get a bit funny. I was watching Ralph Smart and Teal Swan looked just lovely, right? She's an attractive woman, but she had like some like silky blouse on, it looked like, and like in this first instance I'm watching, I just think, why she has to go look sexy for? Now she's just a beautiful woman, right? She's not even thinking about it like that, right? But I had this thing where I was like, what you like, I'd rather like I'm like, let's all wear fucking, if we're having serious conversations, let's all wear clothing that's like to the neck, right? Let's what's that all about, right? So I don't sit here Mr. Perfect. I sit here and show you my flaws. I show you flaws. I show you what I'm working on, right? And we've got these instances, right? And we just have to analyse it. And I did after I saw that. And I spent like a day and a half analysing it, why I felt that so quickly, and because I'm so wanting a serious conversation, and because I see so many fakes, right? People that are, yeah, and it's just hollow. Like, they're just exploiting people. And I want to see people being overtly transparent and honest, right? And I think, you know, maybe they are, right? And it's something I have to work on, where I see something and I think, so what, are you using sex to sell here? Or, because, you know, you get used to seeing these subliminal message, right? And that's where I have to recheck again. Blimey, am I just getting into autopilot, like everything's a subliminal message and now everything's a fucking conspiracy? Do you know what I mean? So awareness brings you back. You check yourself and you're like, all right, Till Swan was probably just looking good, right? And I haven't had sex for over 7 years, so I'm horny as a motherfucker right now. So that's something I'm working on. Because, you know, if you choose to abstain from sex, you have to choose to deal with the sex drive that goes with it that isn't being fulfilled. But anyway, so is life, and my friends, we're up on that time. So I'm going to say to you, have a good weekend. Find acceptance in the moments, but check that you're accepting the right things. And I still say, I do not accept people being mass tested on. That's unacceptable. Use the force. positive mental attitude. Be kind with your thoughts to yourselves like you would for others. Keep loving your hearts like yourself, for yourselves like you would for others, and let's get it. Get what, Ziggy? Ziggy, he's sleeping. Ziggy, he's so unaware. Peace in.